We're going. Okie dokie.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome, welcome. Terrell's here. Terrell just became a member. Thank you, Terrell.
Yep.
Hugh, Grampito Vic is here. And 84 Cuddy. How are you guys doing? Welcome, welcome. We're going to let some people filter in here. We're just getting started. So first and foremost, welcome to episode 1 of UTX Unplugged. We'll get into exactly what that is here in just a few minutes. Dennis Allen is joining us. Hello, Dennis. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Rickinator's here. Hey, Rick. And I'm counting on you guys to let me know if the microphones are okay. They literally showed up like 2 days ago. So I've had 2 days to learn how to use microphones.
Yeah, they were a week late.
Yes. Tim Webb is joining us as well. All right. So, UTX Unplugged.
Yes.
What is UTX Unplugged? What are we doing here?
Hugh says we're clear.
We're clear? Okie dokie.
Daughter watch.
Hey, Tim's here.
Nice.
2 Tims. Microphone is adequate. Thank you. Chris is here. Arturo's here. Oh my goodness, we got all kinds of people.
I'm not going to watch it because I always get distracted by that thing. So
I know the live chat is addictive. So, all right. UTX Unplugged. The thumbnail says it all. What are we doing here? UTX Unplugged. We've talked for a while about starting a kind of a podcast style series. A lot of times we sit out here in the shop and we answer your comments. And we sit here and we have so many conversations that, we wish, we always say like, oh, that should have been a video.
Yeah.
Whatever comment we just answered and talked about for an hour.
Right.
So hopefully this is a platform that we can give you guys like a more detailed answer to some of your comments. We get so many comments that, we get the same comments over and over sometimes. And there's a lot of topics there that we can talk about as well.
Yeah, if we do it in this fashion, we could do it in a broader form, basically, and actually have a conversation about it, and not just type something back to somebody that isn't as easily understood. I don't think.
It's easier to get your point across, and I think more people will have access to the information this way rather than scrolling through the YouTube comment section is like not the easiest thing to do, and especially when you're looking for an answer for your problem.
Right.
So if we can sit down and say, hey, we're talking about this issue, and we can all take and learn from somebody's issue from the comment section. So
yeah.
We got all kinds of people coming in. My goodness.
It's also going to be a way for us to get to know you guys a little bit better too. We read all your comments, and but if we can sit down and actually kind of have a conversation with people, it would help us out a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's the idea with it. We've wanted to do a podcast ever since we started doing YouTube, and when we do the lives and that, we have a lot of fun doing it. So we thought we'd do it. We'll see how it goes, and then hopefully get like on a schedule to where we do it every other day, maybe. Right.
I don't know. That seems like a lot.
Right.
We would like to do it regularly. We were talking about the third Thursday of every month, like our Thanksgiving live,
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see. We'll see at the end of this how much we still like it. So,
Yeah.
so sometimes we'll come in with topics, a lot of times that are brought on by your comments on the videos. And sometimes I would also like to ask you guys for topics and suggestions. So make sure you are following us on Facebook and Instagram. I will post that, when we come up to doing another one. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. And we've talked about having guests. There's a lot of people that we would like to sit down and have a conversation with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
so if you'd like to be a guest, get on the lineup. And,
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. We could have somebody on here that we talk to them on the phone once in a while. A lot of these people, but
Yeah.
If we could actually put a face to the voice and have you on a show, that'd be pretty cool. Because we get bored just talking back and forth with each other. It's fun to talk to other people once in a while.
Yeah, and the live chat is a great way to do that. We've got Grandma Vic is joining us. Brian is here. How you doing, Brian? How's that? What is it? 86 C10?
Brian?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been so long since I saw that.
I don't know. It's red.
Yeah. It's an 86. Yeah.
Bobby Sanders is joining us. Oh.
Brian's truck. Brian's truck is the worst example of a less swap ever.
Yeah, according to a recent comment.
Yeah.
Thank you for your opinion.
Yeah. That truck turned out so nice, and that was just one guy's comment. It's like he watched the video and said that's the worst, probably the worst
example of an
LS swap.
Yeah, and no explanation, of course.
Yeah, and I respond. Why. I try to respond to everybody, and I responded to that guy, and I just asked him for like a little bit of an explanation, a breakdown of why, and when. I would have liked to heard his opinion, I guess, but of course they never come back.
Yeah, Brian says he's just jealous.
I don't know. It's probably AI, and it's probably not even a real person. But
yeah, really.
Whatever. That shows you how stupid computers are.
Yeah. Tim Anderson here is asking real quick before we get moving here. How long is the wait list to get an air conditioner compressor bracket?
I've been making them almost. People order them and she'll ship them out on Fridays. So, like if we got an order for them today, then like I'll make them on Saturday or Sunday, and they go out the next Friday to people. So they really haven't been waiting any longer than a week.
Yeah,
I've streamlined how I build them, and last week I bought a bandsaw. Actually, I had been cutting all those pieces by hand with a cutting wheel, and I don't know why I never went and bought a bandsaw before, but I finally broke down and went and got one, and today was the first time I used it, and I told her, I'm like, why in the world didn't I buy one of these 20 years ago? So
yeah. You put a new blade on it, and we both just sat there and watched it like, oh.
Yeah, it cuts the pieces by itself. I just walk away and it cuts them up, and then so that'll save me a bunch of time on them too. And but yeah, I make them pretty much right away for people and get them out. And then if there's something going on, like the weather has been so bad that we had the shop pretty much closed down for well over a week. I couldn't get it above like 10 degrees in the shop, and it was just miserable. So if there's something going on, she'll email somebody back and tell them it's going to be 2 weeks, maybe, so.
Yeah. So, like you said, it's been within a week and a half that we're getting them out. So if you guys are interested in the UTX low mount AC compressor brackets. Send us an email at uglytruckexperience@gmail.com.
Yeah. People have been loving them too. We've sold enough of them that we got some response from, she puts it out on what's the
Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, on
and
Facebook, but we got feedback from people that had put them on everything, OBS, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all the way down into the 70s models, the early 67 to 72.
Mm-hmm.
And they nobody had any complaints about them. But I suppose, having to move the motor mount back a little bit to make space for it is probably the biggest pain for it. But
yeah,
doing an LS swap, if you're going to run into stuff like that, and it's well worth it to do it, to have it down there. And then I don't know, we're happy with them.
Yeah, they
so far. And then just like that, like talking about our comments and that, people watch our video and then they don't go back, they don't see the very first videos of like the first design of that bracket. And then they'll come in and they'll say, hey, why don't you use a stretch belt, or get rid of that tensioner and that.
Yeah.
And so then I sit down at the computer and I have to, I spend time responding to those people and try to relate to them the problems that I had with that. And the problem that I had with that was I did that on Brian's truck. Brian's in here tonight, and he picked up the pickup, left, called me maybe 20 minutes after he had gone,
mm-hmm.
and said, hey, when I'm driving down the road, there's a strange vibration. And so I had him bring it right back to me and had him take our truck home. And but what it was that belt slipping. And I just couldn't get a stretch fit belt that I was 100% confident that it was the right tension. And
mm-hmm.
I couldn't get a whole bunch of information on exactly how much they're supposed to stretch. So instead of worrying about that, because I also didn't want to stretch one on it and have it pulling on it too hard and then wear the clutch out and the compressor prematurely also. So yeah, when I did his, then I brought it back in and I just redesigned the whole thing, and then started using the updated tensioner, the spring style tensioner on it, and it works great. So by being able, like just now, like being able to answer that question here, that will possibly save me a bunch of time. and it also would kind of relay that message to you guys of what it is, how I come about with that problem, and how and why it is the way it is now.
Yeah, the process of where we're at now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's exactly what she's talking about. We get these and we sit there for 30 minutes or so at the end of the day when we're done working, and we this is the conversation that her and I have back and forth with each other. So
yeah.
we're gonna use this as an opportunity to fix that.
Yeah, bring you guys into the conversation too.
Right.
So
sorry for that long-winded thing. People regret asking me questions.
Yeah.
It goes on and on and on.
Jerry likes to rant.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's a pretty good idea of what we're doing here as far as what is UTX Unplugged. So keep your comments coming, keep the live chat coming, let us know what you guys would like to see. We'd love to, get your feedback and suggestions as always, So what are we doing here, as in, why do we do things the way we do? This is a big conversation that we have a lot. Why do you go about something the way you do? Why do you engineer it the way you do? If it's the fuel system, if it's, just your approach to an LS swap is different different than what somebody, who's going for big horsepower. It's different from, everybody's swap is different. So that's kind of what I wanted to get into today for today's topic. Why do we do things the way we do? And that is a lot of times, or I guess all the time, that is based on your years of experience in the automotive world. And I wanted to kind of start at the beginning with your experience. Like, you grew up like a farm kid in Nebraska. It's like lawnmowers and mini bikes and 3-wheelers and trucks and grain trucks.
Right.
So what was the first mechanical thing that you did when you were a kid that you took apart and put back together or whatever?
A Briggs and Stratton lawnmower engine,
Yeah.
Because we had a 3-acre place that's all we had were push lawnmowers, and that was the very first experience that I had with engines. And I was so bored there I would take even though the engine was running fine or whatever, I would just tear it all apart, and I'd take it down to absolutely every single piece that I could get it down to.
Yeah.
And then clean everything up real nice, and then put it all back together and see if it ran. So, and then I'd kid myself and think that it ran better, when I
tuned it up.
Yeah, when it was all done, but
souped up that Briggs and Stratton.
Yeah, but it was I was impressed with myself that I could do that and make it run.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, like, how old were you at that time? You were.
I was 8 to 10 years old, probably.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
So, at what point did you get a job in the automotive?
When I was 14.
14.
When I was 14, I went to work for a diesel mechanic, and this ties into, I just saw I think Alan Gaskin. He's here, right? Yeah. Ever swap other types of cars or trucks? Well, in today's trucks now, the answer is we swap 67 to 87 trucks. But when this job that I had, what we did back at this place, like I said, he was a diesel mechanic, and in the 80s, General Motors came out with that horrible diesel engine that they put in their cars, their full-size cars, and they were just going out left and right. So these people were left with just a shell of a car with no running engine. So the Oldsmobile 350 rocket motor is the exact same engine block as that. And what my job was to when I started was removing an Olds 350 rocket from the donor vehicles that we bought, and then I would pull the diesel engines out of the cars that we were swapping, and then I would break the motor down. My boss at the time, he would rebuild the engine, and then it was like an assembly line. We'd have it set up where then I would go and put them back into where that diesel was. And we did the whole thing where when you got into that diesel car, you did not ever know it was a diesel. Like, he had me take the dash out. I got rid of the dash portion of it that said diesel fuel only. There was no hint of the diesel stuff anymore in it. And that's probably where I got to where I was kind of meticulous about how it ended up having to be. But that's what I did. And then by the time I did that all through high school, and by the time that I got at the end of high school, then he had me rebuilding the engines, and he was just sitting in the house doing nothing.
You were steering the ship.
Right.
So then after high school, you went to Southeast Community College
Yep.
in Milford, Nebraska.
Yep.
And you went for automotive tech.
Yeah, I did.
So
yeah.
What, I'm always curious, going to school, the experience that you get from a school, what they teach you, what they tell you to expect, how accurate was that for you when you hit the real world then? What experience did you gain from school?
Absolutely none.
Really?
None. I learned that I was going to have to, I had to work in the mornings, noon at night in order to afford to pay for school. And when I was in school, you had to supply yourself with your own tools. And so while I was there, I had already accumulated a tool bill debt. And so I was working nonstop. I worked from usually like 5:30 in the morning, and we finished at about 7 at night while going to school, So it wasn't a lot of fun. I learned to drink way too much. And then when I got out of school, then it was just a giant slap in the face of what my career was going to be.
Oh no, party's over.
Yeah.
So when you get out of school, what was your first job? Because you've been self-employed for a long time, but you did work for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that like?
It was terrible. I haven't seen any of my old.
I know. I was hoping Rick would be here.
Yeah, Rick was around. Yeah, Joel. I never worked with Joel, but Rick, I did. Yeah, Brian, he knows I'm the muffler man.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, like the age range of the people that we have that are listening, but if you remember back in the 80s and the 90s, if you're old enough to be from that time, like a car wouldn't, they didn't run hot enough, and they would put the mufflers way out on the ends, and they weren't the same stainless steel as what they are now. And a muffler might only last like a year on a car. It wasn't surprising to see a car only carry a muffler for a year. So my first job was just doing exhaust, and I was pretty good at it after a bit, and I was the guy who ended up doing like the dual exhaust jobs, and that's where I got that skill, which is another great comment that we got this week that I'd love to mention.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, but cars also only went about 20 at the most 20 to 30,000 miles. You could get a brake job. So that you would go through a pair of front brake pads on a car in 20,000 miles. That was totally common. If they come in with less than 10,000 miles on them, we would just think that, well, the people they're excessive on their brakes and that, but it really wasn't that strange. So I was doing that, and then we would do, there were days that I probably did I would say 15 to 20 brake jobs in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I could do a muffler. I could do a muffler on a Ford Escort in less than 5 minutes. I could go pick it up from the parking lot and have it back out in the parking lot in less than 5 minutes. And my boss, he hated me because the customer would be sitting there, and he would have to turn around then and charge the person, $200 for a muffler that only took 5 minutes. So he would come out and he'd take the keys out of the car. So I wasn't the only one that did this, but he would take the keys out of the car so I couldn't jump in it and put it back out in the parking lot.
You'd have to stand there and make somebody think you were really hard at it back there.
Yeah, just so the customer would think that it took a long, long time for their muffler. But yeah. And brakes were the same way too. We would me and my friend Rick, we would race on brake jobs, and we could do the front brakes on like a Chevy Celebrity we had to, those days you had to machine the brake rotors. They were too expensive really to replace at the time. Not like it is today where you just replace them, but the amount of time that it took us to do a front brake job was just the amount of time that it took to machine the rotors. And if you couldn't do that, like the shop owners would get on you and they'd be like, we don't have any room for you here if you can't do one that fast.
Yeah.
So
Whiskey Tango says I could do a clutch and an escort in about an hour, which is coincidentally about how long they last.
yeah.
Ford escorts.
Job security.
Somebody is asking, Tim is asking how old you are.
Tim?
Mm-hmm. Tim
Well,
Anders.
mind your own business, Tim. I'm just kidding you. I'm not shy about my age. I'm 55 years old. I'll be 56 in May. But the question everybody really wants to know is how old Emily is. Let's quit beating around the bush, people.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Emily's 64.
I've had some work done. No,
I wish.
I'm 35. So
yeah. That's a story for another day too.
Yeah,
so,
maybe not. Okay, so your time at House of Mufflers was the establishment that you worked for.
Uh-huh.
Your time there, that was kind of your first glimpse into like a daily repair business, and how a business like that runs and operates. So that being said, at what point did you decide to start your own shop? When did you decide to not be under somebody else's thumb?
I worked at that place for about a month, and then I went and I worked at an Oldsmobile dealership, and I only worked there for about a week, and there was nothing for me to do. I think I was doing electrical stuff there. I was doing like electric windows that were inoperable, and they were giving me stuff like electrical, which was great. I loved it doing that, but you would have to go. If anybody knows anything about dealerships, you got to go schmooze the service riders and try to get on their good side and get them to give you work because you were flagging hours. And
so you didn't get work to do. You didn't get paid basically if somebody didn't assign it to you.
Yeah.
So
right. And so I bet you in the week that I was there, I probably only did maybe 4 or 5 hours of actual work. And the rest was just standing there, polishing my tools or going over to the service riders and trying to get in good with one or just kissing butt basically.
Buddy up.
And which I'm not a good butt kisser. And it wasn't for me. So I quit and I went back to House of Mufflers. And when I went back to House of Mufflers, I knew at that point then that I would never get another job. And I was dead set on saving my money and I would open my own shop.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I did that job for 7 years, I think. So, and that's another thing too. Like a lot of our people that we talk to, we kind of know what some of them do, but when we had my one friend here that worked in a dealership, I wanted to sit down and talk to him and just get his experience, and maybe we'll be able to do that using this platform too.
Yeah.
Because I get bored. I want to hear everybody else's story. What else we got?
Bobby says he hated working at the dealership also. And he also said, we said, but.
I did, didn't I? Oh, she didn't even catch that one.
I know.
Just curious, what was the dealership?
I believe it was a Nissan.
Yeah, I thought it was a foreign car also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Jeff's here.
Yeah, neighbor Jeff.
On Jeff's 2016 Silverado.
Yeah.
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 Oh, he says they work good. I put a fancy brake kit on his truck for him. That one took me more than 15 minutes, Jeff. I spent time on that one and did a nice job.
Jeff's driving by, seeing you
Yeah.
out there in your lawn chair.
Yeah.
Why is my truck taking so long?
The dealership, but like the place that I went and worked at those years, I knew that I had to get out of that business. They made me a manager of a store pretty quickly because I was pretty decent with handling customers, and they made me a roving manager. So if you had to go, if a manager wanted to take some time off, I'd have to go and run a different store. And it seemed like what they would do, I think the managers knew this is a day when you could get an oil change done we had about $15 invested in it. And they would put out a mailer coupon thing for a $13 oil change. And you would show up in the morning and there would be 10 cars out front with these people all having their coupon in their hand. And the coupon, and they had a bunch of small print on them. At the end, it said it's a extra buck for, if you need 6 quarts of oil, 5 quarts, whatever. And then another $3 service charge for disposing of the oil. So by the time they got actual oil change got done, it would be $18 to $20. But there's also a lot of pressure put on you to upsell on them. So if you ran a ticket through that was just for the $13 plus the $18 oil change, you'd get called into the office at the end of the week, and they would go over your tickets and just read you the riot act because you weren't making enough money. And on top of that, when you give those people their bills and it wasn't $13 plus tax, I spent the whole week talking, explaining to the people that, sorry, it's a ripoff and you just got ripped off. And
yeah.
So I hated it. I had to get out of it.
Yeah. So the customer was already thinking you hit them with a bunch of hidden fees. And then on top of that, then they're wanting to, they're wanting you to walk in and go, oh, you need brakes too. Your wiper blades are bad. Probably should service your transmission.
Mm-hmm.
And hit them with even more stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah. So when you went out on your own and became an owner operator, how did that change the way you approach your work, whether it's, a daily sort of repair or an LS swap or whatever we're working on? Mm-hmm. So as an owner operator, business owner, how does that affect how you go about things?
At that time, or how is it transferred into today? You mean
getting into today?
Yeah. All right. Well, I know one thing. I was able to, at that point, I had the deciding factor of what parts to put in people's cars. I did not have to put in like what I considered a substandard part. A piece of junk, in my opinion. And then and then on top of that, it was my name on the door. So I would have to make sure that when it left that it was everything in it was top notch and the job was done correctly. So when you force yourself into like a business where you have to have some integrity and stand up for your own personal work, and then it falls on you to make sure that you're a little bit more picky, I guess, mm-hmm. about how things get done.
Yeah.
Because when you're a small business person, they would always say, you'll have one customer that's happy and he'll leave and they won't talk to anybody. But if you have one dissatisfied customer, they leave and they'll talk to 100 people
Yeah.
and tell people that they, are dissatisfied with your work. So I just strive to never have that happen.
Yeah.
And
For us here, when we were doing the daily repair stuff, we were, I would say we were always great to our customers. We always made sure everybody was, if somebody needed a ride home after they dropped off their car, or, we were always real accommodating and always just treated people right and were honest with them. And I mean, it took off, the sign, we had a sign out by the road for like a year, maybe a year and a half. And we went and took the sign down because it was like, we don't need to advertise anymore. We need to get this under control, and then it's still, was crazy. So,
right.
But, so just word of mouth, good or bad, goes so far. And, like your experience working for a franchise, working for a chain, and trying to upsell people and trying to gouge people and make people feel like, that was a negative experience for that person, and it's like, we try to make it, they come here and hang out and talk, I don't know how many people
everybody
sat in this chair and just sat here and talked for an hour instead of picking their car up and leaving,
Yeah. Everybody that so far, everybody has turned into our friends. And
that's the problem.
Yeah. Except for some of them.
Some of them.
We enjoy some of them, but we have everybody that we've done an LS swap for has we consider them a friend.
Yeah.
And then I talk to people. I'm not just tooting our horn here, I guess, but there was a year or two ago where all we did, it seemed like, was fix other people's LS problems that they had done by other shops. So they were just truck owners that were having problems with them.
Yeah, they'd already paid somebody else to do the swap.
Yeah.
And it wasn't right.
Yeah, and they did not like those people, So for us to still have great relationships with everybody that we've ever worked for, we're kind of proud of that. And that's kind of our driving force of why we're particular about some of the things that we do.
Yeah, because when it comes to the swaps and when it comes to the videos, the way we go about something and design or engineer something is different because it's for somebody else. We need to send it home with somebody and not get a phone call the next day, not get a phone call 6 months from now, not a year from now. If we get a call from somebody a year from now, I want them to ask, like, hey, I just hit 30,000 miles. What's the part number for the fuel filter?
Yeah.
It's like, I want people driving their stuff,
right.
So we got to do it in a way that is trouble-free and simple and serviceable and reliable first and foremost.
Yeah.
So that definitely influences, just the fact that we're working for somebody else and working on somebody else's vehicle,
Yeah.
It has to be right.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like Brian's pickup here, he lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he had that truck back there for a while, and then he called and had check engine light on, and it ended up being a bad ground, and he figured that out on his own. I went there and fixed it, but from everything that he explained to me, he pretty well figured it out. And then I just knew what I had to do, and I went and drove there and fixed it and hung out with him for a bit and went home. But like that was my thing so much of the time, or that we try to talk about with the swaps, is to I'm trying to keep them like to where somebody could do that, where they could figure it out, and you could take it someplace and somebody could figure it out. Because like I said, the ones that people brought to us were One of them was run by a Terminator X, and I mean, when you're running a Terminator X, unless you're, I've seen people have to turn around and buy a new the processor part of them when they were having trouble with them. And it's like I can look at a General Motors ECM and see if whether or not it's working correctly and see if that's its actual problem or not. But when somebody brings me a Terminator X, I'm at a loss. You're at Holly's expense right there. You're going to have to deal with them, or some of the other things that we fixed on those pickups were things that I go over time and time and time again on our videos, telling people not how to do it, but just how we do it, and try to be why. And that's what we're going to try to help people out with a little bit more, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So, a big part of it too is we talk to so many people in the comments and on social media that are doing a swap for the first time or just don't have much mechanical experience at all. So, sometimes we explain things a certain way or, suggest a certain method just because of, we're trying to give somebody some help that, may not have the starting place that somebody else does. They don't have the experience, try to give them the most trouble-free. And a lot of times in that situation, if it's your first swap and you're not super comfortable with with an engine and then with an EFI, with all the wires and the PCM and everything, it's like, if you're not super comfortable with that, like it ran exactly that way in the donor vehicle. Just pick it up and put it in whatever you want to put it in. Don't change anything. Like if you have a running driving donor, it's like, yeah, we've shown, how to refresh an LS engine and put a new oil pump on it and the pickup tube seal and stuff. But even if you don't even do that, like if it had oil pressure when you took it out, it has oil pressure now. It's like, get your swap done, know that it's running correctly, then put a cam in it, then do something, right? Because I get it with the you mentioned the Holly stuff, the Terminator deal. It's like, I totally get that because the LS intake is ugly. Like there's no other way to put that, and those Terminator, manifolds, they look really sweet. So it's like, I get it, but also that's a big expense.
I'm talking about the running system of them, though. The electronics portion of them.
Right.
But
on that one. Yeah.
Right.
But
I know what you mean. I agree with you.
But my point is, keep it simple, keep it stock. Get it in there, make sure the bones of it are okay. Even if you get a smoking deal like we did on a 4.8 dropout, throw it in there, because a 5.3 sits in the same hole, a 6-liter sits in the same hole. It's like, once you have the swap done, it's, like we mentioned earlier, like our swaps, like we try to make them serviceable. Like if you need to swap that engine, lessons learned, one of our more recent videos here shows you how long it takes to pull it out and throw a new one in. So
yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, easy sleazy.
No problem.
Just throw it in there.
I mentioned earlier that I want somebody's comment that they just sent to us this week was a guy.
Yes. Get his name.
He watched our video of us doing exhaust on one of them or something like that, and I didn't even. That one's pretty old. I didn't even realize there were people out there watching that one. And but he said that he watched that one and he went and bought a tubing bender, like similar to the one that I have. He bought a used, it's called a Huth brand tubing bender, and did up his exhaust the way that he wanted to do it. And then he knew he could turn around and just sell the tubing bender and, just have maybe a few $100 loss in the whole thing. But I mean, I never thought that for a second that somebody would ever like try and bend up their own exhaust because we did that, but that was pretty cool.
Crazy. Yeah.
And then all you guys that are, that come in on us and say, that you did this, it's pretty impressive. I think that people are out there doing that. I don't know why they'd bother putting an LS in anything anyway.
Hunk of junk.
Yeah.
4L60s. Junk.
Yes.
Yeah, that one was really cool. His name was Nick. My response back to him in the comments was, there's not a lot of people that can say I bent my own exhaust system.
Yeah, with a tubing bender.
Yeah. I mean, or I guess that's what I mean. Like running a tubing bender is like I told him, it's like I've bent exactly one tailpipe in my entire life. It's like that was the first major tool that we bought for the shop. We ordered the blue bent back lift in here and the tubing bender. That was the first two things sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
And
squeaky.
Yeah, old
squeaky to the left. Well, yeah, but that's pretty cool that somebody did that.
Yeah.
And or the people that just do an LS swap, and we run into them, and they say that we kind of inspired them to do it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. We get so many comments saying, you guys have inspired us to, or inspired me to do this, or I love the ones that are, my kid is taking an interest now because of your videos, or, getting the family involved. I know Grandpito Vic and Grandma Vic are here. They do a lot with their family, getting everybody involved. And I think that is really cool. Because it is something that, we've done this stuff for years, together, and long before we had a YouTube channel. And I love like our crazy truck adventures, and get something running, and when we got the Camaro running the first time and smoked out the shop, and
right.
It's probably like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
It's the loudest.
Yeah. It's a blast.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I love,
just want more people to do it.
Yeah. I love hearing, that, you guys are spending time together, hanging out, it's like, I love hanging out in the shop with you. So it's like, I like somebody else is getting that experience too. Broke Dad Build says, teach kids the skill of mechanics young and get them involved. It's a dying skill. Yes. Was that today you were telling somebody?
Yeah, we had an Amazon driver here today that he started just throwing questions at us, and he said he had like equipment for working on cars, like the tire machines and stuff like that. And so he was kind of picking our brain a little bit about that. I'm like, man, if you can do it and have some integrity and be willing to admit when you maybe aren't right, and when something bad happens, but you do a good job otherwise, and you just are a good shop owner, you could build a career that would be insane for yourself. If I was a better business person, I certainly would have done a lot better with it. I could have hired more people. I only had one employee my whole time being self-employed, and it was one of those things though where, like, if I had really focused on it and wanted to work harder, then I could have built a huge career out of it. But I really wasn't in it to become a multi-millionaire. I wanted the freedom of having my own place. And when I see kids today that aren't interested in that stuff and wonder what they're going to be doing, and are they going to get to this Amazon guy driver's age and be driving down the road thinking, man, maybe I should have went and paid attention to what my dad and mom would be doing out in the garage with the cars. And so that was our other thing when we started the channel. We committed to making sure that it was always family friendly.
Yeah.
So our people that were watching us didn't have to worry about having their kids in the room.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's just, if the kids aren't paying attention, even if it's just, nobody's going to drop the F-bomb, or nobody's standing there smoking or drinking or whatever.
Right.
When your kid walks in, it's like, it's safe.
That's right. What else you got written down there?
That was it. That was all of it. So basically, to sum it up, what are we doing here? The thumbnail says it. Why do we do things the way we do? I think we hit all of it. Your job, your career has been like stock daily driver form. Make it last as long as possible. Like we've always been going for, we build things to go 200,000 miles, not 200 miles an hour. Like we're always going for longevity and reliability, and like I said earlier, we want people to put miles on, whether it's one of our swaps or one of your swaps at home. We want to hear somebody, going on a 1,500 mile trip and hitting the road and not having an issue and not having the hood up in a parking lot or something,
Yeah.
So we go about things a little differently. Not everything has to have a cam in it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, okay.
Here we go.
Yeah. That's really what people are going to say to us too. And you always hear this on, you see people talking on about YouTube and things where people say, well, just don't read the comments and that. I just get hate mail for the comments that I make about camshafts, and that's what we're going to do with this platform. Is I'm going to set all that stuff straight, even though I know that those people won't probably sit down and listen to you, because the people that are willing to sit down and send you a nasty comment, they're not the kind of people that will also sit back and have a conversation with you too.
Right.
I have a word for them, but I won't say it right now. So I get a lot of, but our platform is, we have to read our comments, because if we ignored the people that are watching our stuff, like you guys, we wouldn't have people watching our videos anymore. And so we have to keep, we read every comment, and we try to reply to every single one of them, and even those bad ones. But lately it has just been me in camshafts, that people are so mad at me that these guys they're tuners, and some of them are very nice about it, the way they talk to me, but
yeah, they explain themselves really well.
Yeah,
their side of it, I guess.
Yeah, and everything that they say for the most part is absolutely true. But when it comes to people like us, what we're doing, we don't have the ability to do that and send somebody's vehicle off someplace into another part of the U.S. where we don't know 100% everything about it. So that's why we do that. But we also just tell, like we've said before, just so, like I just saw Terrell saying that he loves his stock cam. and he may have, you know, I'm not saying that he did this, but like he may have like started off in the LS world swap before he did it and said, oh yeah, I'm going to put a cam in it. And then maybe he would, maybe he would have watched one of our videos and just said, oh, I'll just keep with the stock one for now. And now he drives that truck. But I think there's a lot of those out there now that are sitting in somebody's garage that they got it up to that point and it doesn't run 100% for them the way they want.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't get driven as much. And they're looking to find somebody to tune this for them and make it run good. But there's just a lack of people out there that can do that.
Yeah. A reputable tuner, you know, somebody who A, knows what they're doing, and B, will stand behind their work. You know, if you do have an issue 6 months afterwards, you know, because that's the thing. Like, you know, we could do something and have it tuned here, but it's going to go back to Texas, or it's going to go back to Florida or Iowa or whatever. And we got to just cross your fingers and hope and pray that there's a decent tuner.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
Within trailering distance from wherever it goes, you know.
Yeah.
And it's our swap. So it's like when it doesn't run right, even if it's something in the tune or if it's, you know, whatever the issue is, we get the phone call first of all, and then we're the kind of people that you will drive to Tulsa to fix Brian's ground, you know.
Yeah.
So
just like Broke Dad Builds here, he mentions that he's got a stage 2 BTR in it and stock springs, and he tuned it himself. And so that's what I mean is like somebody like that goes into it and goes, if there's something a little weird, if it doesn't do this and that here and there, then I can take care of it. When it's these people, the people out there that we're trying to encourage to do the swaps to, that I just don't want them to get into a situation where they're dependent on that person at the end of the job.
Yeah.
Because when you get to the end of that job and that thing doesn't start and you have to, you know, fiddle around with this and that to make it run, they're discouraged, and we just don't want to see people being discouraged. So that is the stuff that we're going to address a little bit. A spoiler alert. I'm just going to say it. You know what I'm going to say? Somewhere around here, there is a shiny little box that says HP Tuners on it.
Oh my goodness.
I was so fed up with it last year that I said, well, I'm tired of not being able to do this and that to it. So this year we broke down and we invested in HP Tuners, and I'm determined to educate myself on it. And then she's messed around with it more than I have since we bought it, and so she's smarter with it right now than I am. But we're going to do that, and we can at least do our own ECMs now. We don't have to send them out anymore, and so that's great. But I'm gonna start educating myself on tuning them.
Mm-hmm.
But I swear that I will never tell anybody that I am an expert at tuning.
Yeah.
Something. You know.
It is complicated. Like if you're not familiar with just plugging in and looking at the HP Tuners interface, is like there's tabs and screens and graphs and you know, it's like 1,000 things that I could mess up real quick, you know. So and it is something that you need to have a good idea of what you're doing. So the ones that we do talk to that have, you know, done their swap and then have gone and done their own tuning, you know, have made the investment in HP Tuners and done it. That is super cool, because that has taken it, you know, another step.
Yeah. And the other thing is like the people, the tuners that have been messing with my head, I guess. I go to them and they'll go, well, I'm tuning this and that out of everything, and everything's perfect, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it took me probably 10 years of tuning a naturally aspirated engine with a carburetor and a distributor before I ever turned around and said, like, I'm pretty good at it. And so, like, I tell people that, like, this is like, that's why you'll never see me saying that I'm an expert. But the problem with the HP tuner stuff is anybody with an extra $700 or $800 can go buy one, and like 10 weeks later they're hanging a shingle outside their house saying that they're an expert tuner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not possible. It takes a lot of experience and a lot of learning, and I just worry about the people that go through the trouble of building themselves a nice LS swap and then go someplace and somebody's got an engine that's, you never know, it might be running super lean, running down the road at 65 mile an hour, and it could burn a hole through your piston, just because of somebody thinking that, well, I can make it idle good, but whatever happens after that, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we did buy one, and I am going to educate myself with it, and she will too. And
we've done a little bit with it and try to just be like, get ourselves familiar, I guess, with how it works and what it looks like. But we've done a couple.
And like whoever it was that said that he had done his or whatever, I would like to, those are the kind of people that I would love to hear from and have them say, well, I tinkered with it, or however I did it, or if I had somebody else that taught me how to do it, or how they got that experience to where they felt comfortable doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the other thing that I never hear. I do know people that are very good tuners, but they do not share their information with anybody, really. For the most part, they're pretty like closed-lipped.
Yeah.
And if I was to ask them what I wanted to know, they certainly wouldn't tell me, because they want to keep
that's how they make a living,
their business going.
Yeah.
So,
hey.
Oh, there's Rick. Rick just showed up. Rick, you missed the whole thing. I talked about you for 30 minutes.
Oh my goodness. A lot of people saying Goat Rope Garage is a place to learn about HP tuners. That is one that I've seen pop up. So,
all right.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out. Matt Sanford, Crampito Vic says.
Yeah. My way of doing it, I will probably learn it myself. As bad as that sounds, I'll take one of ours and I will work on it and try to make it run better, and I'll learn those little aspects of it.
Mm-hmm. You're a jump in and figure it out. You're a tear apart that Briggs and Stratton in the shed behind the house. And
yeah, but I'll do it to ours. I will not do it to somebody else's. Okay. That is the thing. Because if I damage one of our engines, that's on me, and whatever,
Yeah, if I had to guess, I'd say it'd probably be the 70. The 70s are guinea pig for everything.
Oh, you'd be mad if I blew up your truck.
Probably. Bobby Sanders said he bricked his first one.
What's that?
Bobby Sanders says he bricked his first PCM.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that would stink. Yeah, we're excited to try it. We've done a couple like AFM deletes, DoD deletes, or AFM disable, I guess.
Oh.
It's would be what you would call it, but
yeah,
just on Oh, I think they were like 2018-ish.
Right.
But they're it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. There's a ton of stuff. I sat there and just looked at that's what Broke Dad builds here. There's so many parameters to change to make an engine run right. Yeah. I mean, you can sit there and just look at tables and charts and
oh, the things that they get mad at, the tuners get so mad about is like I think like through our videos, I don't have the ability to like stress, like I understand that the very stock LS engine could run better with a stock cam in it, stock heads, everything completely bone stock in it. They're tuned in order for them to meet their emissions levels, and they're tuned to make their fuel requirements. But they also put out a tune that is getting, we have one that's got 450,000 miles on it, and it runs like a sewing machine still. It's perfect. So that's the tune that's in it. So when we're doing the videos, I can't take the time to sit there and try and explain. And then also too, an engine today, like I'll drive the engine in my pickup, or I won't drive the engine, I'll drive the truck, but I'll take that thing for a drive. Okay. I'll drive it to Springfield and back a few times this week. At the end of that week, you have a different engine. It's a different engine. So you're putting you can take a tune absolutely for that specific engine and make that thing run to 100% of its capability. But it's like time and effort. Brian's in here. He's got the 6-liter, and I know for certain Brian would say that he probably couldn't care less if it has 5 more horsepower,
Yeah, I drove that truck. I don't think he needs 5 more.
No. And he'd maybe never notice it. So
yeah. That's I've gone on that rant before too. It's like going back to you got to have a cam, man.
Yeah.
Kind of mentality. It's like if you can't break the tires loose with a stock LS, you have bigger.
Yeah, you got big problems.
Yeah, you got bigger problems than.
Yeah. So that we won't. I don't know. I don't think we'll probably ever get to the point where we're like messing around with the HP tuner on the actual videos and that. But we will. Hopefully, we'll be able to talked about it in this forum thing. So I can maybe share some of the things that I learned from it, and people can guess, educate me.
Yeah, give us some suggestions and.
Yeah, and that's honestly the thing. Like I've said it before too. I have learned so much from doing YouTube, from the people that send us stuff, send us information,
the comments and social media.
Yeah. Because nobody has the time to sit down and really absorb everything you could possibly learn. But people send me stuff, and I think, man, I never thought of that. And then I'll look into it just a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, that's cool. And so I learned a ton, a ton from it. So
yeah.
So we appreciate you.
Yeah, it's just interesting, whether we, take their method and run with it or not, it's like, you gain something from learning from somebody else's experience, And so that's why we started this channel, our shop, Ugly Truck Automotive. We wanted to share the experience of being here and, I think the cool stuff that we do, So, for somebody else to come in to then our comments and share with us their experiences, like that is super cool. I mean, that by far is like the coolest part of YouTube is like.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are out there doing stuff that I wish I was doing on a day-to-day basis. I'm, a lot of the people that we don't have anybody that really does it as a business. So everybody that we talk to is doing it for fun, and then like I get to be like a part of that, and sit back and daydream about like some of the stuff that the people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
They share it on Swap Talk, and we get to see that, and it's pretty neat.
Yeah, shout out to Terrell up here. He's been with us tonight. He keeps Swap Talk rolling pretty good. He gives us lots of updates on his truck. Grandpa is the truck's name. He has done a lot of really cool stuff. You were talking about somebody doing the stuff we wish we could do. He's put LED turn signals in his stock mirrors on his pickup, and he got the rear view mirror with the compass and the temperature in it.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
but he's been doing some really cool stuff. But yeah, if
he does great work.
Yes, yeah, he was doing his door panels the other day. They look nice, baby.
It under the hood, it looks like we did it.
Yeah, really.
I always tell him it looks like, he's doing a great job. It's like, he's arrogant, I guess. He was having a problem with his 4L60E that was in that, which I don't know why anybody would use one of those in it anyway. But but I got to talk to him. It was maybe a month ago or so. It wasn't shifting, and I remember the whole story or whatever. But he sent a picture of what the front pump looked like when they were rebuilding it. So the front pump was in a few pieces, and so I was sitting there. When I saw that, I go, oh, in my head, I was thinking, oh man, I'm going to have to tell this guy that he's got a transmission that's just full of junk, And I talked to him on the phone. I said, hey, you probably had somebody put the pump in, and they pinched the torque converter up against the pump and busted the pump and ran it, and then it grenaded, and you get a whole bunch of pieces in your valve body.
Mm-hmm.
So I turned around and said, hey, you're going to have to remove your valve body, clean every piece out of it. Just go ahead and replace all your solenoids at the same time while you're there, and just clean, and put that baby back together, and it'll probably work. And I expected him to just be like, I expected to hear from him tonight and go, oh, it's still sitting there.
Yeah.
But it was like 2 days later, and he sent a message, and he's like, yeah, it shifts great now. And I'm like, man, that guy's he's a motivated.
Yeah,
motivated
he's getting
guy.
it done.
Love it. And he's also a member too.
Yes,
I noticed that, and we appreciate that so much. Thank you.
Yes. He became a member tonight. Sinister Silverado, I believe, became a member tonight. Grand Pito Vic is a member. Jeff up here is a member. Where did Jeff go? Somewhere.
Is 84 Cuddy still here? If he is, come in with a comment.
I don't know. Where's the Swapster?
Ray-Ban. I haven't gotten one of Ray-Ban's things in a long time.
Yeah.
We just finished up a new video yesterday, so she'll get that out pretty soon.
Yes. Yeah. So leading up to tonight, I've been in podcast mode. I had to figure out how do microphones work? How do we do this? And we got a cool new banner. I was as excited about that as I was the microphones. So, but yeah, we've been in podcast mode. So we've been gearing up for this, and I have a whole video sitting there waiting for me to edit.
Yeah.
So I think you guys are gonna like it. If you do follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram, I gave you guys a little teaser the other day. Your old orange and white 74.
Right. Can I show them my radiator things?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Okay. I'll be back.
Okay.
You hold down the fort.
Okay. We're holding down the fort.
We got four subscribers to go.
Oh my goodness. Right now we are at 64,996 subscribers. We're 4 away from 65,000. So that's pretty cool. I've been sitting here squinting at the other screen over there. So
Right?
Yeah. So in the next video, we'll give you a better look at these things. But Jerry wanted to show off his.
Put it in the white
There
there.
we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here. There. Ooh.
Okay. Yeah. People have to be like, oh, what in the world is that? All right. The radiators, if people were doing the radiators using our LS donor radiators and those radiators that we like to use, I couldn't get the bottom core support piece on some of them. I could get the top that I need, but I was having trouble getting the bottom piece. So I was having a hard time. So I started making those, and it's just it's just 2 cups that the little insulator on the bottom of the radiator sits in, and they're cut as low as possible so that radiator sit in there as low as possible. And so that's all I need. That's all I need anymore to mount a radiator in them.
Yep.
And we're going to put them, we'll have them on our merch store and try to make them nice and reasonable for people if they're going to do them. But all these people in here have already got it done. They don't need that stuff. But in this upcoming video, we kind of talked about that, and it's a video about radiators again, but the last one we did was quite a while ago, so people have
and like you said, we've got a different way of going about it.
Yeah,
but those do make it super nice. The video coming up is a 28-inch radiator, but they work for either size, the 34-inch or the 28-inch. It all mounts in there just the same. And
I think Hugh said he needs a 5x8 banner. That banner was like $20, right?
Yeah. Hugh, I'll send you a link. I got this on Amazon, and I ordered it because I was like, there's no way this is going to be, anything quality. And it actually is really nice. This is 60 by 90, I think. And it was like $21 or $22 shipped here on Amazon. So I'll send you a link. They had different size options, Hugh. But yeah, I'm super excited about it.
Because of this channel. I appreciate you both. Butt connectors came in handy. Did he win butt connectors, or did he just get them from our idea?
I don't remember giving away butt connectors.
No.
You said butt.
Butt.
Butt. Okay.
That's what are you doing in? Camaro? Is that right?
I think so. 67 Firebird.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. Very cool.
I have a 90, or no, what year is mine? Oh, 75. Nothing special, but we have a 75 Camaro, and if I had some spare time, I would love to do that car.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as cool as a 67 Firebird, but that is a car that is like a driving experience. Even when we did have it running, it was so much fun.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever told the story of that car, but we got it, and it was one of those, like, we bought it sight unseen.
Yeah,
you didn't go look at it or anything, and it was like the tow truck's going to show up, on this date, and we're just standing there wondering if it's real, and it showed up, and it was really not that bad.
Yeah,
and I mean, we didn't pay a whole lot for it, and we brought it into the shop. It had a Wyand intake and a Holley double pumper on it. And we got it fired up, got it to run. It burned through a gallon of gas in 8 minutes, just sitting there idling.
Yeah.
And it was like our eyes were burning. So I think you had an intake, just an Edelbrock, and then we put just a Edelbrock, whatever, 1406, whatever it is, on it, and fired it up, ran great, backed it out of the shop, and went and did donuts in the field and lost all forward gears.
Yeah.
So
And reverse.
eventually, yeah, you backed it up to the fence, but
Uh-huh.
then now we've lost reverse and forward. So
Yeah.
but
See you, Mark.
Mark's heading out. We lost Bobby earlier.
Oh no. Oh no.
Um,
How far are we from 65,000?
4 away. So close. But well, I think that is everything that we said we were gonna talk about tonight. What are we doing here? Why do we do the things we do?
Yeah.
So going forward, like we said, UTX Unplugged. We want to have more conversations like this. And, you know, like we said, we'll come in, you know, sometimes with a topic and, you know, something from the comments, something from UTX Swap Talk. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, UTX Swap Talk, make sure you go do that. Like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram. And as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But we've got a lot of big plans, guests, and
Yeah.
as always, we want your feedback and your suggestions. So
Yeah, let us know if you like this kind of content, and give us some ideas of where we could go with it, and we could bring it, you know, hopefully a little bit more often. We definitely enjoy doing it as long as we have things to talk about with people. So if everybody chimes in and says they would enjoy it, we'll make time for it, and we'll hopefully do it more often than what we even plan to do it. So
yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know. Make sure you check out our merch store. We got some sweet coffee mugs. I'm about to add our koozies in there. They are the Ask Me About My LS Swap koozies. We mentioned those in a video a few weeks ago, and I did not add those in yet. So make sure you guys keep an eye on that. We are adding new products all the time, and we greatly, greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to all of our channel members. Also, that is pretty sweet. Speaking of,
yep.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Terrell, Hugh, Doug. My goodness, everybody's here. A lot of folks came in later tonight. Rick, thanks for stopping by, Rick.
Robert.
New video is coming up soon. So thank you guys. I think we're going to shut it down for tonight.
Good.
So we will catch you next time. Make sure you keep an eye on social media and stuff. We will announce when next time is going to be. Have
a great night. Thank you.
Have a good one.